Thank you. Hi, everyone. No pressure at all. Thank you so much for coming in here. I'm very excited to talk to you about how to win at the creator economy. That's me. I'm Lucrece. I'm the head of creator marketing at Amazon. And over the last decade, I've been working with thousands of content creators, hundreds of brands across all different categories. And so I've had the chance to see, product launches from, simple startups to billion-dollar product launches. And today, I was asked to do a masterclass about how to win at creator economy. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been to so many talks where we talk about creators and we're like, you have to be authentic, right? You need to trust the process, think long-term. So when I thought about this masterclass, I thought about how do we actually make an action? How do we actually win at that? And so today I'm here to share what actually works in the creator economy, what scales, what drives performance, and what can drive brand love as well. This is not going to be about theory. This is an actual 10-step framework that I've developed and that we're using at Amazon. But before we dive right into this framework, let's talk about a few trends that we're all seeing there. So first of all, we all know the creator economy is changing, right? It's just a bit more than a decade-old industry, and it's already worth more than $200 billion. It's actually set to double within 5 years. Again, AI, no surprise, it's reshaping everything, right? And so how we create, how we consume the content, but also how we monetize. So it is, forcing or pushing creator economy to, or at least the brands, to shape this as a growth engine. But the biggest trend is everyone wants to be a content creator now, right? But only a few know how to win like one. So what we're seeing is, across the top 1% creators, what are they all doing? Well, they have a unique value proposition, a bit similar to a brand. You know why you're coming to a specific content creator. They understand their audience. That's critical, right? As a brand, what we want is to leverage that content creator and their expertise and understand what their audience wants. They master a signature content. We've seen a lot of creators, for example, focusing on cleaning products, right? And it works pretty well. But most importantly, they really evolve constantly. But creators are very important. Everyone wants to be a creator. And then it also kind of like goes into your content, right? It's not just about the product fits. You now need to think about the content fits. And so when your content hits your audience, you're going to know about it. Why? Because people are going to like, they're going to share, they're going to comment, and they're going to tell you, this is actually exactly what I needed. So make sure that you're looking at that. I love this one. IRL is the new URL. So in real life is the new URL. We're all fighting for attention online, right? But real trust, it's still built offline. And so you need to think, when you're building your creator program, engine, you need to think about what do you do in real life as well. Think co-working space, think, dinners, feedback session. Don't forget about that, because online gives you reach, but offline gives you depth. And sometimes some of the biggest unlocks that you can have. B2B is extremely popular. That's a trend I'm seeing more and more. So if you missed TikTok in 2020, please do not miss the B2B trend now. Very exciting. Why? Because you have kind of like expert matters that are going to share like advices, templates. They share behind the scenes, and they position themselves as trusted experts. Whatever the category that you're in, try to find a B2B influencer, content creator that's going to help you shape what tomorrow looks like as well. Everyone is talking about AI. I had to put something about AI, right? But I think we all know by now that AI is not going to replace any creator. Think about AI like your almost like creative copilot, right? It's going to 10x your output. So use it to do research on your audience, on the trends, on, you already have something that works. How can you double down on this? Really use it to just amplify the output that you're going to give to every campaign that you're doing. Gen Z, of course. Gen Z is not just scrolling, it's really rewriting the rule. They want authenticity over polish, they want clear values, they want behind-the-scenes content. And so if your content feels too scripted, they just won't buy it, right? If it feels filtered, if it feels fake, you've already lost them. And that's where we're going to talk about authenticity, but we'll talk about that in a few slides. So what's the new brand playbooks? What are the brands that are really successful doing with creators? Well, they're using Creator not just to support their launch. It's not just like a promotion system, on it itself, you created something, then just go and amplify on social media. They're actually integrating creators within the launch, within even thinking about the products way earlier than that. And they're also blending entertainment and utility, right? It's about getting the attention that you want online, but it's also about educating your audience about a specific product. So it's really about all co-creation at scale. So don't treat creators as media slots. Really treat them as creative and strategic partners in order to win. All right, now we're going into the steps. So what's the step number one? Reverse engineer the role that the creator plays within your brand marketing strategy. What does that mean? Too often, brand starts with who's famous at the moment, right? Who's popular right now? Well, you should be asking yourself, what are the creators actually here to do, right? What's your objective? Is it to drive awareness? Is it to drive conversion? Is it to educate on how to use products? And so at Amazon, we really flip the script. We think first, what is our objective? What is your goal? And then, and only then, do we go to who's the creator that we want to work with, and how do we make this work? Use different, once you've understand that, you will use different type of creators at each stage of the creator journey. So you must think about the creators as, you have your creator life cycle, you want awareness, you want them to discover product, then you want to educate, and then you want to drive sales, right? And so the same way that you have that, you're going to use different types of creators to do that, right? Whether you're looking for awareness, you might want entertainment, you might want macro. If you want to educate, you want to think about like maybe unboxing as well, and longer type of content. And if you want conversion, you definitely want commerce content creators. I'm happy because I'm seeing a lot of people taking photos, which means we're going into the right direction. But that's the key. I'm seeing a lot of brands that are coming and saying, yeah, I want it all, right? I want to work with macro creators because they're so cool, but I actually want to drive sales and I want to drive a lot of traffic. You're working with content creators, you're going to have nice content, you're going to have a bit of everything, but if you don't really look at your primary objective, you're going to miss the spot. So make sure that this is the first step, but this is the most important one for me today. A good example of that, like if you want to drive purchase during Prime Day, by the way, Prime Day is coming next week if you're interested. A nano creator with maybe like 8,000 followers, but that actually has a very high conversion rate, might be more powerful than someone with 8 million followers with who's not aligned with your brand and who's going to drive zero. It's as simple as that. Step number two. Let data and budgets drive creator matchmaking. So obviously at Amazon, we use a lot of data, right? We work with millions of brands. And I think that's very important as well. Today, you have a lot of different tools, you have a lot of different platforms that can actually help you look at the right metrics to drive the right outputs. And so you should use really that metrics. What is your goal? What is your metrics that you're looking at? Again, awareness, think about engagement rate, think about the content's reach as well. If your goal is conversion, then you're going to look at conversion rate and sales, as simple as that. So match your goal with the metrics, then you're going to follow the creator tiers. This is what we saw a few slides before. And then the budget. Not everyone has 5 million to spend into creators, right? And so whether you have a very small budget or you actually have millions to spend, that's very important because that's what's going to help you scale, and you should be very aware of that. So maybe instead of spending everything into one creator, you might want to diversify and really like start small and then scale that way. One thing that's very controversial, but for me, follower count is the most overrated metric that people are looking at. Again, I've been in this industry for more than 12 years now, and you have incredible creators, again, that are super small, that can drive millions, and really millions. And there is no rule, right? Some of the macro are also amazing and can drive millions as well. But casting is going to be the most important part. So driving creator matchmaking, what I call the casting, is really what's key in there. So once you've aligned on your goal, on the objective that you want to drive, this is kind of what you want to look at, right? So if consideration or awareness is my main objective, then I want to look at the engagement rate. I don't care if someone has, again, millions of followers. If their audience is not engaged, if they're actually not clicking on the products, if they're not commenting, if they're not sharing, what's the point, right? And here you're buying values, right? You're buying a cachet. That's what you're buying. So of course, posts are going to be a bit more expensive. In terms of retention or purpose, it's kind of like your mid-funnel there. Traffic, look at the traffic, the actual traffic that people can drive if they're sharing a link. Look at the retention, look at the quality of the content as well. Retention is very important, don't oversee it, because it means, for a consumer, it takes at least five to 7 times for them to see a product, to be educated about a product, to actually purchase. So don't oversee that, don't go directly from awareness to conversion, really build your funnel and think about what kind of creator will fit that. And then the last one, purchase, click-through rates, affiliates. Again, if you don't have that data, we don't always work with affiliate or with the Amazon influencer program, etc. If you don't have that data, that's okay. Ask the creator to share it with you. And that's absolutely fine. They will, right? But also, don't expect that creators, after one post, will drive millions. It takes time, right? You need to educate their audience. They need to create several pieces of content, and then you will scale with them. So don't expect after one post, the magic will happen. But here, really work on people that are driving commerce content. And what I call commerce content is people that are promoting this kind of water, that are really talking about unboxing products, etc. I would not go to an entertainment creator who is, posting about their holidays if I want to drive sales. So really be mindful as well about who you're targeting, and just listen as well, right? You might have some niche creators that you're passionate about the topic and they're always popping up. That might be someone good to work with. Second most important thing, always match the content to the platform. Again, too often I'm saying, I want an unboxing, I want to talk about all the benefits of my products, and I want this in an Instagram story. Well, maybe think about YouTube, right, in that case. And for me, each different social channel, actually there are way more than this, but I've put the main ones in there. They each have a purpose. They each have a way of, different kind of creators as well. Creators are not on every single platform. We all know that YouTube, it takes a lot of time to create a YouTube video. They might not all do that. And it's okay. It doesn't mean that they can convert on one platform versus another, but it's really about your brief. What do you want creators to tell about your product? What is the kind of content that you want to create? And make sure that when you're casting those creators, you're really looking at the audience. And then there are some, differences between a platform versus another. Instagram, yes, it's lifestyle. YouTube, moving way more to niche creators that have an extremely engaged audience and longer form content as well. TikTok, entertainment, of course. And then Amazon for the commerce and the conversion. Step 3, design creators into the campaign, not as add-on. So I touched base on that a little bit at the beginning. But I think it's very important. So creators should not be cherry on the top. It should be baked into the cake. So the way that you think about your creators should be the same way that you think about your customer journey, right? So where are your customers? They're in social media. They're on your websites. You send them emails as well, and then you invite them to events. When the same way that you're doing that with your customers, you should think about how do you integrate influencers. By the way, we're saying influencers to creators, but that can be also magazines, right? Publishers are a big part of the creators that we work with today. So think about how you integrate all of that into your content plan. So you want to, prepare if you're launching a product, for example, you want to build the hype on social, right? And then you might want to share on email a testimonial about the product. How do they feel about the product? And that's, by the way, what authenticity is. Because too often there is authentic. What does authenticity mean? It means taking a product, taking a brief from a brand, and then translating it with my own language as a content creator. So let them translate that to their audience and to your audience as well. And then events and boosting, more and more, we're seeing so many brands shifting from they're creating the content with the creators, but actually, creators' content is starting to outperform the brand content on boosting. And so a lot of media budget is being redirected to the creators' boosted content amplified because of the reach, to be honest, right? We all know that it's hard to get the reach, it's hard to get the views on Instagram, on all the different social media. And so we're basically now buying this reach as well so that it expands. And we're seeing that it works really well in terms of conversion. Step 4, you're still with me? Great. Step 4, build a strategic creator wish list. How do you identify creators? That's very hard, right? Well, you might tell me, actually, it's easy. There are millions of creators. I'm sure you're all here, right? So you're all following a lot of creators on all different platforms, millions of them. Actually, I disagree. Like, finding the right creator is not easy. That's strategy. And so you really need to look at a lot of different things to make sure that you're finding the right fit, right? So how do you do that? You either use an affiliate, the Amazon Influencer Program, that has data, right? That have historical data that can give you or tell you exactly, well, here are the creators that are driving sales or traffic or something else for your competitors and that you're not working with. Or you can look at, and that for me is kind of like the performance metrics, really, when it comes to the data on conversion, on traffic, etc. There's also the qualitative data, and you should always check at both if you can, of course. And qualitative data for me is like, as I said, engagement rates, views, type of content. Are they talking about your competitors? Are they talking about other brands that you're interested in? Are they also very similar to another creator that you're working with? And those are all the type of metrics, qualitative metrics, that you can also look at via some third parties. So I just put 3 names there. There are way more than this out there. But Creator IQ, Tagger, and Cold Square, those are a few names that we're using internally. Once you have those platforms, how do you identify the right fit? So I talked about competition. I talked about focus on cases as well, right? Versus categories. So like, you don't have anymore like a fashion influencer doing only fashion. It was true 15 years ago. We called them the bloggers. Not the case anymore, right? And why? Because now creators, they're also diversifying the revenue streams that they have, and so they're testing new categories. So don't focus too much about this creator is purely a tech creator or purely a home creator. Really focus on what they're doing, the kind of content that they're doing, and their data. Check their audience. If you're launching a product in the UK and creators have, you have a nice list of creators, I'm very happy about that, but then you look at the audience and you realize that only 5% of the audience is based in the UK. Well, is it worth really your money? That's debatable, right? But I would always, always encourage you to check the data about the audience. Where are they based? Who are they? And then, of course, the type of content. Step 5, pitch, brief, offer. I can hear people thinking, I know how to do a pitch. I've done so many pitches, like, thank you, I know already. Well, I think that's very interesting because that's where most of the brands are actually losing the creators. And because they're sending something either too scripted or, or not actually, or they don't have enough information. And so you need to think about your brief in terms of like share context, right? You want to do something to drive the brand awareness. We'll see an example in the next slide. But really share more about your products, the benefits, your objectives as well. Ask for their point of view. Again, we're going back to the authenticity. It means giving them the information, they translate it. And they're going to know exactly what works. It's in their best interest that this collaboration works for them as well. So be very transparent from the beginning. Treat creators like partners, not ad placement. You cannot imagine what a difference it makes. Again, it's very simple, but hop on a call. And if you can't hop on a call because you're working with hundreds or thousands of creators, then tell them that if they have any question, maybe you might have an office hour so that you can answer any of those questions. But you need to make sure that you're nailing the creative brief, but please, please, please don't kill the vibe. So tell them about your brand objective. For example, you want to drive awareness during Prime Day of a specific product. I'm sure you have some visual ideas that you want or that you have in mind. Maybe you want content that they're posting on their social media, but that you want to repurpose on your website, for example. So tell them exactly what you have in mind. Why not give them a mood board? Honestly, why not? And product benefits. We usually ever see that, like product benefit. It's lightweight, it's TSA approved. Whatever it is, they're going to take that, and then again, they're going to put it in their content, and that's how you're going to lend your brand messaging into the creator's content. Clear deliverables, but please think about the deliverables with exactly what you need, because otherwise you're going to be disappointed by the content, and you're going to be like, that's not what I wanted, and then, it's all about relationship. Creators are real people as well. You need to make sure that you're very clear with them. So for example, you want a dedicated YouTube video and you want, I don't know, a few lines about the brand and about the benefits of the products. And potentially you want the creator to add, I don't know, 10 links, affiliate links into the description. Be very clear about that so that they know what to expect and what to post. Make the offer easy to say yes to. That doesn't mean that you need to spend so much into one creator. I think for me, what's important about that is that you kind of like break down your offer, right? Instead of putting it all together and saying like, I can offer you 10K, and it's a lot for you and for your brand, and you have objectives to deliver, break it down. Well, you need to offer a product, right? They need to do content, they need to have the products within their piece of content. So I'm gonna give you X products from this line, etc., that you can choose. And then think about the actual flat fee. Of course, you're compensating them for their time, but also for the content that they create. That's normal, depending on their tiers. Affiliate commission is very important. If you're working with an affiliate, or for example, if your products are sold on Amazon, well, guess what? Amazon pays them a commission whenever they're driving sales. So that's another layer of revenue for them, which makes a difference. And then bonus offer, I love to do that because I think it's a little motivation, right? Like if you're selling more than X, then you'll get an extra bonus. It gives them incentives to go way over the script, way over the brief, and to think long term. Because they know that in that case, if you offer them a bonus, you're interested to work potentially long term with them. Step 6. Track what matters, not just what is easy. So at Amazon, we don't just, collaborate and hope. No, we measure. And we measure relentlessly, right? It's beyond likes, it's beyond views. We look at click-through rates, how much we pay per post. We look at engagement quality. We look at the content. Make sure that you're looking, again, go back to your qualitative and quantitative. You want to know what's going on within your campaign. You all have budget that you need to justify as well internally. And so think about that. And then that's what's going to enable you to change, to switch budgets internally as well. So if you're seeing, again, that content from creators are performing better than boosted branded ads, then shift the budget straight away once you're seeing that. So it's all about keeping the information, make sure that you can justify what you're doing internally, but also understand where you have true ROI or where you have true value, and be able to reinvest then afterwards so that you can really create that flywheel, not just do a one-off. Almost there. Step 7. Make content work twice or 10x. So make sure that you're amplifying the content that you're paying for, right? We talked about how you should integrate creators along the customer journey, right? So from the pre-launch to after. But also think about when you're paying for a piece of content, how do you repurpose that to make sure that, again, you're taking the most out of this? Well, this YouTube video, it might turn into a few reels for your social media. Of course, make sure you're negotiating the rights with the content creators before. But again, use them into email marketing, use them into ads, use them into social proof. And remember, Gen Z, actually 73% of Gen Z now trust more creators as real person than a brand ads. Step 8, leverage the power of the Amazon Influencer Program. So we work with a lot of brands that don't necessarily have either the team to manage creators, or that don't have the tracking to understand what creators are doing, or that just want to understand how to drive more. And so we usually partner with them for influencer events. Actually, all the content that you've been seeing throughout the different slides are from the different events that are made by my team. I'm very proud about that. But connect with those top creators. We talked about their in real life. Take that time to put your brands in front of them. Digital engagement. So of course, visibility. Give them visibility about what product launch you're driving every quarter, every now and then. What's new? Educate them. We also help brands to gift. Gifting is so important because, again, you're a content creator, you need to create content, you need to have the product, as simple as that. And then macro creators. We work with a lot of different macro creators for a lot of different objectives, but I think it's very important when you want guaranteed content, that's where usually brands are coming to us. Now, how do we build? Great, we've learned all of that. How do we build long-term partnership? You need to think long-term. What does that mean? It means that you went over all that framework, right? And now you're able to identify what's working for different types of objectives for you and what's not working. And slowly you can start, thinking about, okay, who are the top 10, who are the top 100, depending on the scale and on your budget as well, that you want to continue working with. And when you have those people, and it's going to evolve, right? You're going to continue to add more people to your roster, etc. Think about how can you integrate them in the long run, which means potentially you want to create a brand ambassador campaign with them, right? You want them to be engaged. You want them to offer them early access to product launches. You want to share more news, and maybe news that are not necessarily public to everyone. Think about how you can really build that trust, because long-term partnership is what's driving the trust, what's driving more authenticity. The more I use your products, the more I want to talk about it. The more I talk about it, the more it's actually legit, right? And that really what is driving scale and conversion. Last one. Turn creator into brand insiders. So that's the last step. And I think this one is very important to me. 3 weeks ago, we had our Amazon Creator Summit in south of France. And we invited 250 top creators from all around Europe. And it was amazing because people came and they were like, I feel like I'm seeing my team again. And creators were saying that, I feel I'm just meeting with my team and we're going to share what's exciting, how to do more together. That's really when you know that you have a strong program. And so we always say that, in order to know what our strategy should be for next year, we just invite creators. We talk to them. We gather their feedback, which is basically the feedback of your consumers. And then we just brainstorm with them. And after that, your strategy is completely written. Jokes aside, think about the creators as co-pilots, right? They're your team as well. They're part of your team, and so you might not have that at scale, but have a little group of creators that are going to help you understand how to do more, how to do better, how to talk to your audience potentially differently. And you need to nurture that because for us, that's really what's the most impactful, but also like it has no price, right? All right, so if I want to wrap up what we talked about today, casting, brand objectives. Once you've done that, repurpose what works. Test small, use data, measure, and then scale. Track what converts, drop what do not convert or what do not meet your objectives. Scale through long-term relationship and also evergreen content, right? And so for me, creator marketing, it's no longer about reach. It's about building a creator-led engine fueled by storytelling, trust, and community. So if you have one thing to remember from today's session, it will be, please do not rent influence, but really, really, really invest in it. Thank you. I think we have a bit more time, so I'll be happy to take any questions, if you have any. Great, you're all expert now. Thank you so much.